forth. You got to work your way up the levels. This level system, Bass Hemsey took it to court, and now this level system no longer exists in prison. Yeah, BMLs, that's what it was called. Remember, I was telling you guys, Bass is very, very smart when it comes to legal matters. Yeah, but his problem is he just doesn't give up. Like every moment of the day, that guy's always got a hidden agenda. That's all I can say about him. And with Harachi, God love him, like he's now learnt his lesson, but far out, it's too late. Like he's still got about 33 years to go. Like actually, about 33 or 32 years to go, you know? Remember, he only had 18 months when I first met him. And this is what I keep trying to embed into the brains of you youngsters that are watching this, yeah? And for you parents that are watching it, hey, I don't care if you screen record my live, like show it to your kids and show it to those of your family members who are straying off that straight and narrow path that they were taught to follow, you know? Because it's not surviving that you have to worry about when they go into prison. Surviving is not an issue, yeah? It's people who are at the top of the ranks in the criminal world manipulating your kids. That's who you have to worry about. The screws, the hierarchies, the government, they don't care if you're 18 years old. They're gonna throw you into the deep end and you're gonna be stuck there with these guys who are getting in your ear. They're joining gangs and then they're running around. Look at what happened to these OC flops that I had the issue with. Hey, so many of them have been beaten up and stabbed from my side, yeah? And so many of them have been involved in situations with other gangs. They've got dramas with every single gang, these OC guys, yeah? And that's why it's not an issue to me, because these guys have issues with everyone, yeah? But guess what? None of these kids even know what they're fighting about. Like, they joined this gang because they were told, it's islanders together, we stick together, the younger boys against the older boys. And then they were getting hammered by the Lebos, hammered by the Kuri boys. Like the Kuri boys up at Wellington, hammered the hell out of them, yeah? And none of them thought they were gangster anymore after that, you know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying, like, if you see a lot of these OC guys, they all ended up, a lot of them ended up in protection, you know? Because at the end of the day, they're joining and they're thinking they're tough when they're in a group, but you never stay in one prison. So as soon as you leave that prison, you are now vulnerable. So there's two ways of getting out of it, yeah? You can either play the mental health card and you won't get put into a prison with your enemies, or you can just tell the screw straight up and be a little pussy and say, hey, I can't go there because Bloodline is there, or I can't go there because that other gang is there that I can't be with, all right? So to all you parents out there that that have family members who have just gone in, remember, don't really worry about their safety. That's not the issue. You have to worry about the people that are up there in the underworld who gets in their ear. You know, like I know a lot of innocent guys that came into prison normal and ended up going out junkies, yeah? Ended up going out and doing stupid things for big bosses and ended up coming back into prison for another 10 years. I swear, I could even tell you a story about a young kid that was 23, Tongan kid, yeah? I'm not gonna say his name, I don't wanna belittle him or his family, but he joined BFL as well. And when he got out, the BFL boys told him he had to be Muslim, yeah? To join the gang. This kid, Tongan kid, was a Christian his whole life. And he got manipulated so much that he was like, all right, I'll become a Muslim. And then he went and tattooed BFL on the top of his eye. He gets out, he runs amok for the BFL boys, and then the war broke out with BFL, which was Blacktown chapter and Bankstown chapter, yeah? And when he went back into prison, here's this innocent young Tongan kid thinking like, yeah, my gang's strong, BFL, rah-rah this and rah-rah that. He gets to a prison where his own crew were, but he didn't realize that both factions were now at war. So when he gets there, they walk over to him and the Bankstown BFL, and they're like, oi, you Blacktown BFL? And he was like smiling, he was like, yeah, I'm with the boys like that. Boom, the Lebo boys jumped him. and he didn't know why. You know, like till this day, when I saw him again, probably about 3-4 years ago, I asked him, like, I go, bro, like, what happened that day? Is it because of the other side? He goes, yeah, Pete, but I didn't know. Like, I just thought we were all brothers, Muslim brothers. Then I'm walking over to shake their hand, and then they jump me. And now again, you know, to all you youngsters out there, this is what you're going to be dealing with when you go into prison. But not only in prison, this is what you're going to be dealing with when you see these older boys on the outside, or when you see these guys that are your age but have more experience than you in the criminal world. This is what you're going to be dealing with. You know, like a lot of guys who have been in juvie and that, they'll come out, and then the other guys who have never been there and done that, they'll start following suits. All of a sudden they want to be rappers. All of a sudden they want to be gangster. All of a sudden they don't care about prison, but as soon as they hit prison, straight away they regret it. Let me tell you one of the funniest stories, yeah? One of the funniest stories is when I was at Silverwater and there was this Tongan screw, yeah? He starts laughing and carrying on, and I turned around because I was eating and I was thinking, oh, what's this guy laughing and carrying on about, you know? He starts walking through, like, past the other pod into where I was, you know, and I heard one of the Tongan boys in my side, and it was like this Tongan screw was laughing on purpose, so someone could ask him, what are you laughing at, yeah? And obviously the Tongan inmate fell for it, and he goes, yeah, what's so funny, bro? Like that, and the screw turned around and goes, hey, I just saw a 1-4 and a 21 district guy doing laps together. There's this big rubbish war going on the outside and on social media about 21 district and 1-4, and I'm standing over there and I'm like, hang on a second, I'm their age, and they're doing laps together like friends. And so when this Tongan screw yelled out to them, yo, aren't you guys 21 district and 1-4? Straight away, these two boys split, and they were like, F you, you dog, where are this, to the Tongan screw. And the Tongan screw just started laughing and he walked off. Why? Because he knew the dramas on the outside, but he was repping your crew, repping your area, and then getting inside and calling peace with your ops just so you can walk the yard together. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? Prison, like, it's a different territory. You know, like the mafia guys. I've seen cartel guys come into prison. I remember this other guy. He had 18th Street tatted on his back. He's from America, yeah, tatted up. But he had 18th Street, and I remembered like 18th Street was a big gang in America, yeah. And so when I was at Park Lee at 18 years old, I saw a Russian guy who was in the Russian mob. I saw Italian mafia over there, and I saw this 18th Street guy, and I was thinking, wow. I thought it was just gonna be Aussie criminals, but obviously, like, you got all these big time criminals here as well, you know. And these were the guys that you would want to network with, you know. So when everyone tells you that prison is like a university, because when you go in there, number one, you become more wise, and number two, your network in the criminal world becomes bigger. It's the truth. That's what happens. That's what happened to me. You know, I was shocked when I was at court and the judge said to me, where did you get all your money from? Blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. And I was like, Your Honor, if you had a look at my rap sheet, I'm your typical dumb, violent islander. My whole life, I've just been a violent guy, yeah? And I said, I have never ever been a part of an organized criminal syndicate. I've never been charged with it either, yeah? And I said to the judge, I have never been charged with guns, drugs, or money. So where the hell do you think that I got that stuff? Obviously, I got it from someone who's top tier gangster. And like all of you know, on the newspapers, I explained that Mick Howie was the one that gave me the $4 million to help my guys get out of prison. And the judge wouldn't accept it because the prosecutor and the cops kept talking rubbish, saying that, vaiusu is a big gangster. Vaiusu, he runs a gang, and these guys, like, they are involved in everything, shootings. Look, this is what the prosecutors were saying. Mind you, guys, there's no evidence of any of this stuff. There's no evidence of any of this stuff. Like, this is the prosecutor's way of trying to get the judge on side. And I didn't realize that in court, I couldn't yell out and say, that's bullcrap. I was saying this stuff, but the judge wouldn't hear it. He didn't take into consideration that on my criminal history, I've never ever been involved in an organized criminal syndicate, you know? So I got F by the judge, F by the police, ended up in prison, and then I did 7 years. Like, what can I do? This story that is another story that I'm gonna be telling you. But back to Supermax, when Bass was placed on EHRR and all the extremist boys, the rest of the boys were put on EHS, extreme high security. That's what I was, yeah? So let me explain to you guys the difference. Obviously around the world, there's prisons that are 10 times than our prisons. I've seen it with my own eyes, but here in Australia, this is how it works. The normal criminals who are in the main, they just get handcuffed everywhere. So if you're gonna go into the truck to go to court, you get handcuffed. If you're in trouble and you're in segregation, you get handcuffed everywhere. But EHS, extreme high security, and extreme high restricted risk, the top T status, we get shackled. So there's a belt around us, and then there's little locks like this here. The handcuff goes through both locks, then they handcuff our hands. So it's not like what you see on the movies where you can move your arms around when you're shackled. Nah, you actually can't move. So pretty much if you have to scratch yourself, I would be doing this. That's what I would be doing if I was itchy, because I couldn't get my hands up. I was shackled, you know? And not only was my hands on that belt buckle, my legs were also shackled. So when I would walk, I could only take one step at a time. And the officers, when you first become an extreme high security inmate, they don't explain to you how things work. So I wasn't wearing long socks. I was wearing ankle socks. And then I had these leg cuffs on my ankles. Oh, bro. Like, my ankles were all scratched up from the cuff. It was so bad. Like, I was like, I was feeling like far out. Like, why the hell did I put myself in this position? So, for those of you who know or who think they can handle prison, remember, I'm not trying to be a role model. I'm just explaining this stuff with the hope that you guys learn from it, yeah? Like, when I was shackled and I was going through the motions, I'm all right because I'm in a forward drive. So I've got pretty much 2 guards with me driving me in a forward drive, and then we've got a forward drive in the front with guns and forward drive in the back with guns, yeah? But the normal inmates in the main, they got 2 guards, but they go in a big truck, and there's probably like 10 of them that fit in the truck. With the EHS and EHRR boys, we go by ourselves. Yeah? That's why we're considered high security. So these are the statuses for Supermax. You got EHRR, extreme high restricted risk. Then you got extreme high security. That's what I was. Then you got high security. That's a 3rd tier. Then you got high security, and then NSI, which is national security inmate. Those who get caught with mobile phones and doing drug dealing and whatnot, being heavily involved in organized crime stuff. Those are the NSI boys, yeah? They don't get really treated like us, but that status is pretty bad. Like, you get held back from a lot when you're on that status, and it's bad for parole if you're sitting on as an NSI inmate. Then on the bottom of that, you got ETI, which is a new thing. It's called extreme threat inmate. Back in the days when I was coming through, there was ETI program and the STG program. ETI is the extreme threat inmate program. Those are for those guys who are individual violent offenders. So they can bang and stand on their own, yeah? STG is the serious threat group. Pretty much all the extremist terrorism extremist boys who are charged with terrorism, and all the gang leaders end up in STG. And when I was there was a guy named Leafy. He was serving 33. Well, he was there with me. I don't know if you guys know, I don't really want to put her on show, but this girl is an NRL player, and Moza is the one that her father, you know. So I'm not going to get into that. I don't want to hash back up for the family, but he was a big deal inside prison when he first came in. And from his story, the reason why he did it was because that was the guy that used to put it on him a lot, you know, and then he bumped into him, and then things went bad for that guy, you know. For those that were in the extreme, the ETI boys, they are all now considered younger generation postcode gangsters. They all are now like pretty much on ETI, yeah. So it's nothing but you get watched 24/7. Like they keep an eye on you, where you're going, what you're doing. But what we're here to talk about, because I don't want to hash up all the postcode gangs and all that rubbish here. What we're here to talk about